Hello, my name is Monica Price and welcome to the show. Now my guests today are two very, very incredibly talented artists and sculptors. They actually met in Chicago on a commuter train. Please welcome to the show Karen and Tony Barone. Hello.
Hello.
Lovely to see you guys.
Thank
and we
you,
are
you as
surrounded
well.
by your art.
You are, the
which
mini
is incredible.
versions
Exactly. I
of
mean,
our large
I've seen
scale.
some of your larger art, of course, but it's lovely that you were able to bring these on the show today.
Well,
so thank you.
these are maquettes of the big. In other words, we did this 8, 9, and 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
That gorilla we did 8 feet tall. So these are the original maquettes.
How lovely is that? Well, I'm pleased that you're here and pleased that you brought sculptures. So, guys, you met in Chicago on a commuter train. Tell us a story, Tony. Come on.
She said Tony.
I know,
she
Tony
said
loves
Tony.
telling the story.
Tony, tell the story.
Come on, then.
Go. Let's hear your version.
I was working downtown Chicago, and I needed to take a commuter train. I would drive every day, but I had to bring my car into the shop. So I took this commuter train at Terminuses.
Yes.
Is that a word?
Terminuses, we'll make it a word.
In Chicago. So I headed for it, and it was an old wood platform. And all of a sudden there was this, I don't even know what it was, a goddess, an image floating above the platform. And I just locked in like a heat-seeking missile, and I just followed her. And finally the train came, and she got on, and I jumped on to make sure I could keep going. I felt like a stalker, for Christ's sake. And then I managed to sit across from her or near her, and I couldn't talk to her. I couldn't say a word to her, you know. But I had my sketch pad with me because I always carry a sketch pad. And so I started drawing a portrait of her. You want to tell the rest?
Oh,
Well,
that's so romantic.
it was romantic, and I pretended not to really notice. And it was the first time I myself had ever taken the commuter train.
And me too. I'd never taken it.
Right.
So that was, hang on a minute, we stopped there. So that was the first time you'd taken a commuter train.
Yes.
And first time you
Right.
had meant to be. It was totally meant to be.
Meant to be. It was just this magical moment of something happening to the two of us. An electric flame, something burned within us both.
Well, wait a minute.
Well, except I insulted him to start
This was
with.
the hottest woman I'd ever seen in my life. She was working downtown Chicago in the Loop.
Yeah.
And she had official clothing on she was a legal,
Paralegal.
like a paralegal,
Paralegal.
right? So she had this kind of apropos for paralegal outfit, but it was the shortest skirt I had ever seen in my life, you know. And so I was very interested.
Oh, now you lived in Chicago, didn't you? For how long? How long were you there for?
Heaven only knows, but we were there for a good part of our years together.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the weather finally got to us.
Yes.
And the fact that we were designing a lot of very successful businesses.
Yes, I mean,
When I got out of the Art Institute, to school at the Art Institute of Chicago, I was required to either wait tables or drive a taxi, and I just wasn't ready for that. But I have a strong architectural background, and I'm great with math, and I ended up getting an architectural job, creating restaurants, complete front of the house, back of the house, restaurant designs.
Wow. So always the artistic. Always the artistic. And for you, Karen, was it something you've always done, or?
No, well, yes and no.
Yeah.
You know, you grow up and you're artistic in so very many ways: fashion, cosmetics, thinking, and so I have always been in that genre, so to speak. But when we joined forces, we were tough.
Yeah.
We were
really, it was great.
ahead of our time in what we were doing.
And we were in the middle of a very wonderful movement. There was where we brought entertainment to restaurants. Instead of, people didn't go to dine in the restaurants, they went to be entertained in the restaurants. So we created environments that were creative and art. And then we even worked the menus, and we did the whole thing. What people wore. It was
How exciting.
It was very
it was
exciting. We were winning award after award for
we were.
international.
But again, don't think decoration, think walking into an art form.
right.
So it was almost though you were walking into a painting.
Yes.
Walking into
What a
something.
3D painting.
Right,
Wow.
right.
Right.
And as
Walking
much
into an
control,
environment.
as much control as we could have over what people experienced when they walked in that door, the better. And they were so successful.
It's interesting because that was a concept that you did then, but actually there's more and more happening now, isn't there? People are going into these 3D rooms,
Yes.
you know, and art comes out of the wall almost, doesn't it? So you were way ahead of your time then.
We were. And that's not always easy to do.
No, exactly.
When Tony loves to say that 5 years passed,
Yeah.
I would be doing things, and that 5 years later, people will finally catch up with
Yeah.
them.
Well, from Chicago, we had made it in Chicago. Chicago was a great city. It supported us. But we were wanting to get back to art. But
Yes.
we really, at the time, were not really aware that everything we were doing was art.
Yeah.
So, but we decided, with the success we had, to get up and get out of town, and we headed for New York.
And then you went to Manhattan, didn't you?
Yes.
Which was another incredible part of your journey.
Right.
So what happened? Tell me, where did you move? Did you move, was it in the heart of Manhattan? Or?
Soho,
Yes.
which was
That was the buzz then,
new
yes.
area. I mean, it was mostly factories. There were no parking lots, so people couldn't come down there, park their cars, and stay. They
And the
basically
factories
took.
were stacked up in the buildings.
I mean, there'd be 6 floors.
And artists were
10,000
taking over
square
those
feet.
factories, taking over the lofts. So we considered Soho pioneers. We went and got a 4th floor loft and moved in. But it was weird because nobody knew us in New York, nor did they care that we were there. Everybody was there.
That must have been interesting because you were well known in Chicago.
Yeah.
Very,
so it's like
right.
starting afresh almost.
It
Yeah, and
was.
we had a war chest with us when we went to New York, but it was Chicago money, which is like 50 cents on the dollar, and it was going fast. It was going fast, so we decided, well, nobody could see us up here. Let's go and open a store in Soho. And what we were going to put in it, we had no idea. We were just going to, it was going to be, so we named it Barone. We named it after it, so that we could do anything we wanted.
Right.
And it became, it was the second or third retail enterprise in Soho.
Wow.
It was all, there were
was
no
very
businesses.
early,
There were
very
bars,
early.
That's incredible.
lots of bars.
Right.
And how long did it take you to get that, to do that? Was this sort of
We
months?
did it while the money was going fast.
Yes.
We did it immediately. We convinced this
We convinced this.
flooring contractor
give
that he
us
didn't
this
need to be on West
location.
Broadway
Right.
in the middle of Soho, that he owned the building. Move upstairs and we'll pay you more rent than anybody is getting in the whole area. We knew we could do it. And we opened the store very, very, very quickly. And we didn't know what,
Well, sybaritic
Yes.
necessities.
that's what we were
is
selling.
what we sold, things that no one needed.
But everybody
Satin
loved.
throw,
They had to
everyone
have.
loved.
Yes.
Satin throwaway napkins. I mean, the absurd. And all these expressive pins that...
Yeah, you remember Mork and Mindy?
Oh, yes.
All those pins
Yes, they had
came from
pins,
our shop.
Yes.
But it was, and we would just reinvent product and create...
Single-legged
leggings.
leggings,
Yeah.
that would go around your waist and, have
And did you
one
come up with
leg.
all these ideas yourself? Were
Yes.
they all your
Yes,
ideas?
yes.
All we had was each other.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
just the two of us, and we had this feeling, well, whatever Karen was doing 5 years ago, that's what the reference
Yes.
was, 5 years. What was she doing then? Because what she's doing now is too way out for anybody, So we said, let's go back a little, and we started doing cosmetics and,
Oh, yes.
and things, and
Well, then what happened with the cosmetics? Oh, well, let's see. Bloomingdale's, Macy's Galleries
And you had
Lafayette.
stores inside those
Yeah,
stores.
they didn't want
Stores,
just
yeah.
the product. They
They
wanted
wanted
the whole package.
Total look.
Our staff was, we used to call the kids, were dressed in python, shouldered, motorcycle leather smocks. It was very exciting. But everybody in the neighborhood was doing that. Big was across the street.
Doing unusual, different
Forms
of art.
They were all artists that were creating commerce, and we were feeding off each other. But there was nobody coming down there during the day. They were all coming down at night
So
for
it
the
was
bars.
a night. It's incredible.
Yeah, all of a sudden, all these taxis would be coming, and guys in suits, and
And
so
it
we
was
said, Karen, nobody's here during the day.
yeah.
Let's open at night.
do it.
So we
well,
had
listen, we've got to
ahead.
stop you there. We're going to take a quick break, but it's a fascinating story. We'll try. Welcome back to the Monica Price Show, where I'm here with my wonderful guests, Karen and Tony Barone. You moved to sunny California.
We did. We went to Venice
Beach first of all, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
We got
it was
this
the early stages
Right.
of the canals all being reworked, and they were magnificent. We found this 3-story home on the canals that were basically
amazing.
3 floors. And
It was like
5,000
New
square
York.
feet.
It was like a 3-story New York loft.
Yeah.
It was enormous, and because it was also on the main street, and then went along the canal, it was allowed to be a whole story tower. We could see over the entire canal. It was just a magic
Wow,
place.
that was amazing. You found that place.
It
Just,
really was. It was meant to be.
Were you just looking in that area and then just found
Yes.
it?
Yes.
And the guy who built it was
such a romantic
guy,
yeah.
and he just wouldn't let it go to anybody. So he had it all this time, and when we got interested, he just fell in love with us and what we were doing, and wow, he made it easy for us.
And that was the house to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
that
when
was
you
it.
started to create these beautiful...
Really doing our artwork.
Well, no, these actually started coming after Venice. Venice
were they?
was about paintings and
Crazy Not So Lazy.
ceramics.
Yes.
Karen had been declared the artist of the new millennium by LACMA Arts Council.
LA County Museum of Art.
Yes.
It's okay.
LACMA. And she was creating, they asked her to create some ceramics that they would use for their biggest fundraiser. And we did that. Everything at that time, everything we've done, we've always done together, but up until that time, we would brand them to one of us or the other. People say, who did that? Was it Karen? Who did that? Oh, Tony. And after that, it was all became just Karen and Tony Barone.
Wonderful, which is what's now, of course.
That's
How you do it now.
Well, now
It was kind of like
more,
training people too, because they were not accustomed to couples doing anything.
Actually, that's a very good point, Karen, because it is, when you're an artist, you're an artiste, aren't you?
Yes.
There's usually singular. So how does it work? Do you work in the same studio?
Yes.
Yes.
Same bedroom,
Yes.
same studio, same kitchen. It starts at about 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And ends after dinner.
Yeah, 10 o'clock at night.
We eat dinner in bed at night at about 9 o'clock at night.
How European.
Right.
Yes, it is very European.
It
It is,
is.
yeah,
In
that's
bed,
right, yes.
No, not the bed part. I meant the dining part.
That's right.
And so we just work until we're, we just work. It's play. It's like kindergarten.
And I mean, let's look at these beautiful sculptures that are around us. So, they're just incredible. I mean, even to touch them, I can't explain. They're very tactile.
Yes.
They
You
are
do
very
want to touch them. So
tactile.
just talk us through what we've got here in the studio.
Well, these are small, in my opinion, maquettes of what we do in much
Yes.
larger
One
scale.
person's maquette one person's sculpture is another person's maquette. Now, some people, this is their size.
Yes, that's what they would like to have, yes.
And then someone comes in, well, like we did the rabbits on 111. We do a lot of art in public places, large scale installations.
Yes.
And this particular rabbit is in 9 variations along Highway 111.
7.5 to 10 feet.
Right in the middle of the Coachella Valley.
What a wonderful backdrop.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen them because you've got the desert and then these wonderful, bright,
So imagine
coloured
that,
pieces.
9 feet tall.
So they're all aluminum, and then they're ground to give you this depth and to play off the sun, to play off of them. This one's called Spirit Rabbit, Modern Man with Note, or Taking Note. Yeah. And then
This is a
Cherry Vanilla Gorilla.
And it's a maquette of a 7-foot tall pink gorilla, also along Highway 111, in an installation we call Animal Crackers. And it's this giant pink gorilla, AKA Queen Kong.
Yes.
And with adjacent to a 9-foot long red jaguar. Scale is really important.
Do you prefer the bigger scale?
Yeah.
Oh, I love working.
Both of you
the
said
larger,
yes
the better.
Yeah.
And I keep like saying, Tony,
Can we go any bigger?
Just
Can we go any
bigger?
bigger? Yeah.
You know,
Because now you're based in Rancho
Rancho
Mirage,
Mirage.
aren't you? In Palm Desert. And does the desert kind of inspire you? Because I've seen your pieces.
So much so.
Yeah.
And whereby we had 5,000 square feet interior in Venice Beach. Now it's all about the outdoors, the mountains, the light that comes in, because we have all windows. Our home is
It's
just
a
surrounded
modernist
in
home,
windows.
so it's all outside
from that
is in.
period.
Which is perfect, though, for your work.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it
the
is.
sculptures surround swimming pool, and I mean it's so idyllic. It's just fantastic.
Well, how do you begin to do these pieces? Because you've just installed, haven't you, Swirly Girl?
Yes.
So tell us about
Yes.
that.
Well, Swirly Girl just went into El Paseo. It's
El
an
Paseo
exhibition.
is a main fashion street
Yes.
in Palm Desert. It's the Rodeo
Rodeo
Drive
Drive, yes, that's
of
right.
the desert. Go ahead.
And every 2 years, they change out art on that street. It's an international competition, so people are trying to be a part of it. And we're fortunate enough, this is actually our 3rd time, and you can't do them consecutively. But the city loves what we do. They love the sculptures, the joy, the smiles. We're not about, what am I looking at? Why can't I figure this out?
You don't need a degree.
No, in art.
They're not intimidating.
No.
You don't have to. You could be 5 years old, or you could be 105, and you get it.
Yes, that's it. And always so colourful.
Yes, yes.
Always so. Is that important to you,
Oh,
Karen?
no question about it. Color, I mean, think back to the fact that we own this big cosmetic company. That was so much about color.
We were selling color.
Yes.
Yes.
Right,
Actually
right.
selling
And now expressing ourselves on metal in art, it's just an extension of who the
Karen's-
artist within us is.
Karen's strength, one of her strengths, is color. Mine is I can build anything.
And
anything
draw
that
anything.
Karen could figure out
So that's
is
the engineering
impossible.
mind. It's your engineering mind.
Yeah,
Your sort of.
she
yeah.
comes. A lot of times we start with something and she pushes it to the point where it can't be done.
Well,
And
that's
then
what he thinks.
But she thinks, what did you
But
say?
that's what you think. And then we keep talking about it until I get my way.
That's it,
She
yes.
doesn't take no for an
course.
answer.
All right,
And
do
never-
not, do
if
not.
she has a vision, we've got to work on it.
Yeah.
And is that how you work?
Yeah.
Do you kind of have a vision and then you kind of
Yeah.
bounce
Yes,
bounce off
Sketches
each
back
other?
and forth,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
little maquettes,
Yes.
a little this.
Yeah.
But it's not even that we need the maquette, except for others, because both of us really see everything in 3D. It's completely formed in our minds.
She walked in the other day. I want to make an outfit that I look like a centipede.
Oh, yes.
So immediately I sketched that. And
Well, I showed him exactly how I wanted
That's
it.
it.
yeah, I couldn't have done it without
No,
her.
you cannot.
Well, of course.
And he sketches it so that my seamstress can figure it out, because all of my clothes,
Because let's talk
I
about your clothes. Your
design.
clothes are
they are
amazing.
different, they are unique, they are,
Should she stand up?
well,
When I
My
think,
boings,
look,
I'll just
these are
boing.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you make all these yourself, don't you?
I design them all, and I'm so fortunate because I have a seamstress that's been with me in this particular case for the last 10 years, and she finally is really connecting with what I'm
She understands
seeing.
now,
And
yes.
when she doesn't, I say, Tony, do a little drawing.
Yeah, then I,
And he draws
But
something
that's just
for her.
you expressing your artistic
It
nature,
is, and it's
isn't it?
such a great way to communicate with people. You can't talk to everybody, but if they see you visually and they know you're speaking art in love and confidence,
emotion.
It's very true. And do you find being in the desert, do you find it's a great place for your art? You know,
Yes.
because it's a very artistic area, isn't it?
it is. We're
It's
blessed
more,
with the.
it's more being in a great area and feeling good that you're there.
But it's a very educated
Yeah, very
community.
educated.
They're very worldly. They're very philanthropic.
Right.
And what's very important to Tony and I is to give back.
Right.
So in this particular community really allows you to do that.
Yeah, we learned about philanthropy
Yes,
coming
once
to the
we
desert.
came there,
It
yeah.
started a little bit
interesting.
in LA, but you came to the desert and it was the way things were done. And so we started using our art in a philanthropic manner. Large scale works that we would put in front of Desert Arc, which is a facility for challenged adults, and we did 5 figures like this. Actually, this figure 5 times, and one of them is carrying a heart instead of a note.
And it's called Joined at the Heart.
And it changed them.
Isn't that incredible?
The clients reacted. They have art classes, and
It is a very
then
artistic
the
area, isn't
institution
it?
itself started taking the colors from the sculpture and changed. The hallways would be the color.
Wonderful.
The art just like exploded into the facilities.
Well, on that note, we've got to take a break.
Oh.
Now, before the break, Karen, we were just talking about your lives in the desert and how much it changed you.
Well, it really has, because as we were trying to express, it's such a philanthropic area, and the people are so educated and they're successful. And what they choose to do with their money is help others. And they're very, very giving. We have hundreds and hundreds of charities, and they're all almost equally supported. And for us, it's been a wonderful way for us to sell our work, and when we do, we like giving back. We like doing another work of art with the funding and giving money towards the different charities that we're supportive of.
That's a wonderful thing to be able
Arts
to
charities,
do.
all kinds of charities. I'm sorry.
That's right. And you do all kinds of
charities.
No, you do, but you
And-
do a lot for animal shelter, don't you?
Oh,
animals.
You love animal
Animals,
shelter.
oh my
Anything
God.
animals. That's it.
Yeah,
Which
Palm
is
Springs Animal
wonderful.
Shelter.
You know, but that's wonderful though. And has it changed you as artists
I
living
think
here?
it has in many ways. And one of the other ways we like to express ourselves, as you know already, we've said big, large-scale art, but a number of these charities always have one person each year that they honor that has been very good to the charity and spread the word about them and donated to them. And we do little small statues that are reaching for
like
this.
Oscar, like the Oscars.
Little Oscars.
We did
It's
little
like
Oscars.
reaching for
Not
the
little
stars.
Oscar, that's a hot dog.
That's a great thing.
No, Oscar-size artworks that we've donated to several charities who they give to philanthropists, the people who mostly support them.
That's a wonderful idea.
That's been a great endeavor, and we've designed them specifically for each
For each charity, right.
So you really take care in your work and what you do. And how do you see the art world now? You know, for up and coming emerging artists,
Well,
do you think it's a good place? Or?
It is. I think things are changing. I'm part of the people that are making a change in it because I do so much video art. And that wasn't something that was part of my past, but now to me it's the future. And I love doing 1-minute videos that I use myself and I edit. I edit every one of those videos, which is time consuming but very rewarding. And I think that so much of what's going on with artists is that they're moving fast. And everything you do, you got to do fast, 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 fast. But so mostly large-scale artworks is something that they can't even get involved in. It's too far in the future. 6 months? That's going to take 6 months.
They want it all now, don't they? Everybody wants. We live in that kind of world.
Media is costly, but the thing is that when I was going to art school, when I got into the Art Institute, there were only a few people. There were not in my high school. There was the art majors, 20 people in a big school. And now we pump out artists and everybody's an artist. You know, you talk, I'm an artist, or my son's an artist, or and it's difficult because it's kind of watered down a little bit. In the meantime, some of the best work you've ever seen is coming out and digital work is happening and we're expressing ourselves in crypto art now. We've created a series of crypto art, like a rock group. Instead of it just being Karen and Tony, we joined forces with this musician, Jimmy Fitz, and we created a group. Like the Stones is a group. You have the individuals, but our group is the Dancing Skeletons Crypt. Well, that sounds more like rock and roll.
It does.
And it's a combination of taking Fitz's music, Karen interpreting that into a video.
Into a video, okay.
And then I interpreted it into a fine art piece, which now a painting, I'm back, going further back into tradition. My paintings are all oils, they're all on canvas, they're figurative, you know, they're images works, and but one feeds the other. We create this experience,
and that's quite an innovative way to, you know.
It is.
Do you feel that was necessary? Do you feel that was something you needed to do?
First of all, it was a new learning experience for us, and we always require feeding our souls and our minds with change and difference.
It's not out of necessity, it's out of opportunity. If someone comes to you and says, I'm a mentor and I create NFTs, and someone said that you're a very avant-garde artist, could you want to work with us? And all of a sudden we're given an opportunity. And the higher our profile is, the more opportunities we have. And so we're very, very fortunate that way.
Yeah.
But it also feeds down, because then we have assistants and we have people working with us, and they get the benefit of all that as well.
Yeah, so it's like a big family.
Studio.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, we love our private space to create in.
Yeah, to be. And do you feel yourself ever leaving the desert?
I can't imagine that. I just can't. Every once in a while.
Even coming to Corona was a big deal.
That's true. And what was cute on the way here, he said, you know, I kind of like this, being in the car and getting away. Yeah. I said, tell me that once we drive back the other way. Yes. Then I'm going to really listen, because I love change and music.
Artists are blessed with the ability to live anywhere they want if they're creative, not only in art but business and how to fund their art. The first Desert Warren installation was of 9 rabbits. Well, it's a fortune to build those rabbits, a fortune. Go to the city, get the permits, the insurance, it becomes a whole big deal. So we needed to raise money to do that, and we had to be creative. And we created a concept where we got people to sponsor the rabbits. You get to pick out which rabbit you like. And we'll put your name on it, and you'll sponsor it, and you'll be sponsoring an art project.
But that's a great idea, because not only are you sponsoring art,
right.
but you'll get, again, it's giving back. You're allowing other people to enjoy that art.
But what we did, we went one step further. We said, we not only want you to sponsor the art, but you're going to get the art.
Oh.
You own the art. Sponsor that work of art so that we can put it in public for a year or 2 years. And when it comes out of there, we'll deliver it anywhere you want.
It goes to that. Wow, that's
and my paralegal background helped me write that contract. And it worked perfectly.
But like rabbits, they spread.
Yes.
Now those rabbits are across the United States.
How wonderful.
And
where is the farthest place in the world where one of your sculptures or paintings are?
Our Hero, the Our Hero series, which is a 6'3" Dalmatian puppy dog that represents and pays homage to firefighters.
It was inspired by
officers.
Inspired by 9/11. But that was a creative solution as well, because we needed sponsorships, and people wanted to buy the sculpture. I said, I'm sorry, you can only buy it if you're going to donate it to honor firefighters and first responders. Well, that appealed to a lot of people.
Yes.
So there are a lot of generous people in this world who don't just think of owning themselves, but own to give. And so now every one of those 33 sculptures.
Are they all over the world?
All over the world.
Yeah. That must be wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Such a rewarding
But it was tied in to honoring firefighters. One's at Sandy Hook, one's at the firefighters that lost their lives in Arizona.
Correct.
They had meaningful destinations. And it accomplished
a great deal. A great deal.
Yeah.
And how about for you now? You're here in the desert, don't think you're going to leave. What do you think is going to happen to the art world in, say, 10 years' time? Do you think we're moving more to digital art?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, without question, I think we're moving in that direction.
Absolutely, but people can't ignore the foundations, the basics. You've got to learn.
And the physical. I still love the physical.
Correct.
I appreciate the digital, but it's lovely to see the physical art, isn't it?
So, but it's all art. It's the artist that makes it art. It doesn't start out art. It's art because an artist did a rethink on it. And again, everything is an opportunity.
Isn't that amazing? To think that it is, though. Because it is, though, isn't it? Everything is an opportunity.
And we take advantage of every opportunity we can, because as artists, you're trying to lead the way for other people. So you forge forward, give them the confidence in what they're doing. And Tony loves teaching people. He's just very, very good at expressing how to work in a media.
I'm really happy to hear you say that.
Oh, that's good.
He wasn't saying that before.
No, what's one of the funny things is Karen is so high profile.
Yes.
And she has a following all onto her own.
Yes.
And we go to places and people say, Karen, I love your work. Yes. I love what you do. I'm a fan of your work.
We love
this
you
piece.
too, Tony.
Yeah. No. Then they say to me, and what do you do, Mr. Barone? And I tell them I have a delicatessen in Cathedral City and I sell chopped liver.
Well, listen, it's been fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me. Really, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today.
We so enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
You're a thrill.
Thank you so much.